tonight I get to bring on a really dear friend of mine. Her name is Tiffany Jacobsen. And I actually only met her a couple months ago, but it was just the right timing that I got to meet her. And she is a single mom. She grew up in a small town in Wisconsin. She's a first-time author and a new public speaker. Tiffany has a passion for justice and raising awareness about domestic violence and trafficking, as she has personally survived it. She is driven to be a voice to the voiceless, and she truly believes that with God and people coming alongside those that are hurting, a difference can be made in their lives. She truly believes if each person steps out in boldness in their faith, that we can be world changers. And we have a few really brave survivors coming on tonight to share with us, and Tiffany is the first one, and I'm just so grateful that she's joining us tonight. Tiffany, are you there? Let's see. Oh, I see ya. Hey, friend.
Hello?
Hi, there you are.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
So good to see your face. We talked a little earlier, but it's good to see your face, not just your voice. Beautiful. So glad to have you here. So I'm just going to start right in because we don't have a lot of time, and I really want to have people hear your story. So would you start by just sharing a little bit about your story?
Sure. I was raised in a home where both my parents were addicts. They oh, okay, I can do this. They were addicted to cocaine, and along with that, when they met, they made me, but as I was kind of a mistake and an accident. And so as they were doing cocaine, they were trafficking cocaine. And not only were they trafficking the cocaine, but they were trafficking me as a little girl. And everything looked so perfect on the inside and the outside of the home as this was going on. I mean, my dad made a lot of money, so it didn't look like, he made everything look perfect. There was always like luxury vehicles on the outside, and went to a private Christian school. And at the age of 3, after my mom was so strung out on cocaine, she had abandoned me and left me alone for 3 weeks. And the officer found me. And so they brought me back to my dad's place, and he was remarried to my stepmom, and he was still trafficking cocaine. And I'm sorry.
You're doing a great job. Thank you so much for sharing with us tonight, my friend. So grateful.
And so I just was told at a very young age that I wasn't worth protecting, I wasn't worth fighting for. And when they found out that this was going on in the household, they took me out of the home in 8th grade, and they put me into a foster home. And then I was safe for a little bit there at the foster home, which had horses, and that's actually where I felt the safest, and God's presence like just flooded onto me. And then my mom had found out I was in a foster home, and then she finally wanted to be a part of my life. My dad had a good substantial amount of money, so she just kind of wanted me for the child support so she could buy drugs and alcohol. She was remarried, so they took me out of my one safe haven and brought me to more chaos. There were more parties, there were more violations. And then the county found out what was going on. They took me out of the high school and then put me in a temporary foster home. And After that, it was only temporary, and the county made me get emancipated from my mom. They declared her unfit, and so I was just in crisis centers, teen centers. By the time I was 16, I was emancipated. When I was 15, I was on the streets. I was wanting to just not even be alive because I didn't have anybody to just be there and hold me and tell me everything was going to be okay. And so, um, a long story short, it's foundations like this that help be a voice for the voiceless, that can be there and be a voice that says, you know what, you are not an object, you are priceless, and we are gonna, you're safe, and you can be there side by side with us, and we can be on the front lines for those. I mean, it's the the reason I am sharing my voice is because my friend Jessica, she's also going to be a speaker here. She spoke at a church, and it actually inspired me to, she was sharing of how trafficking is so apparent right now. And like, God just tugged on my heart, if I don't share my voice, then somebody, could maybe possibly overcome. And the more we step out and support foundations like this, we are being on the front lines and being a voice for those and saying you're not alone, because it's a lonely place when you're, they target people that are in foster care, girls that, or it's even in families. And it's just like these girls and these even boys, men need to know that they're not alone and that there is somebody fighting for them. My message my whole life was I'm alone, I'm not worth fighting for. So I just believe that when you help foundations like these, you're telling them that you are worth fighting for and you do have a voice. And that's all. Sorry.
That's exactly it right there. You go, girl. That's it. That's it. You told me earlier when we were on the phone that we need to be on the front lines, exactly what you just said, and that we need to be fighting and having a voice for those who don't have a voice and those who feel like they don't have value, because that's not true. It's not true.
Right.
You have so much value and your story is powerful and you are so beautiful. So grateful. Senator Hoffman was just on, and he said that we need to take away the stigma. And I think your story really shines a light on that. How we sometimes think that there's a certain kind of person who is exploited, or they live in a certain kind of situation. But I know part of your story is that on the outside, everything looked really good. Is that true?
Yeah, very true. Yeah.
So it's important to change that and to shine a light on that really anybody could be vulnerable to exploitation.
Yeah, it can happen in any home. I mean, anywhere.
When you look back on your story, what do you think could have made a difference in your story earlier? What do you think could have helped you? What kind of person do you wish had come along, or what kind of resources do you feel like would have made a difference?
I think like foundations like you have, and just other organizations like support groups. I mean, I've had over like a year of intensive therapy because of my PTSD, and just, foundations like this, and like homes, like, coming alongside and creating a safe environment and empowering these women, and, side by side, and giving them a chance to get jobs, getting them a chance to get an education, and somebody believing in them and say, I'm right here with you. And so is God.
Yeah. And that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Trying. You're so brave, and you're doing an amazing thing. What is one thing that you want the people watching us to know tonight about girls who are being exploited and abused right now?
That you can through you can help them. You can be their hope. You can be their light. You can be, it doesn't have to be much. It can just be a word of encouragement. It can be helping organizations like this, but that makes a big difference in the lives of these girls and men, because they need you more now than ever, because there's thousands of them out there, just maybe even alone on the street, not even wanting to live anymore. But that little bit could be the light of hope that wants them to make them keep moving forward.
Yeah. We need each other, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we
I
do. Yeah. Well, we're all learning that, I think. We need each other. We need our stories to be connected. Thank you so much, my sweet friend, for coming and sharing your story. I wish we were in person. I'd hold your hand, I'd kiss your cheek, I'd hug you. Soon we'll be in person again. Thank you so much for being on tonight.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
What a powerful, strong woman she is.
Yes.
I was just
she inspires me to keep going all the time.
Right. And it was so important. Senator Hoffman said we have to stomp out the stigma, and then it was right there in front of us. I mean, it really is so eye-opening on how things are happening behind closed doors that you just don't know are happening right here in our communities. So Seth, thank you again for putting all of this together, and your team. You worked so hard. So that was really important to hear Tiffany's story.